Welcome to Just Relationships, the show that offers you concrete ways to make your relationships better. Whether it's your boss, your spouse, your children, or your friends, the quality of your relationships in life directly affects how you feel about yourself and the success you achieve. Your host, Dr. Duffy Spencer, a psychotherapist, telecoach, author, and seminar leader, will interview top experts to help you learn to manage this essential part of your life. And now, here's your host, Dr. Duffy Spencer.
Greetings to you. Do you know a narcissist? Do you know who a narcissist is? What a narcissist is? Do you know borderline people? Do you know what borderline people are like? How about schizoid, not to be confused with schizophrenic? Well, I am very, very pleased to introduce to you my guest, Dr. Elinor Greenberg, an internationally renowned psychotherapist, psychologist, who is an expert on borderline, narcissistic, and schizoid adaptations, the three character disorders, personality disorders that are very problematic in the world. And some people are full-blown that way. Some people just have some traits that way. The subtitle of Dr. Greenberg's book is The Pursuit of Love, Admiration, and Safety. So, first, Dr. Greenberg, what goes wrong? You know, you're a Gestalt therapist. I'm a Gestalt therapist. We have that in common. And we believe that people are born healthy with all the potential to be fully human and with tremendous potential. And yet most of us grow up in a highly imperfect environment where we have to make adaptations to survive. And in Gestalt therapy, we call that creative adjustments, to destigmatize it, if you will. So this is your show. You're the expert. But what goes wrong with that picture and how people tend to survive by falling into one of these three adaptations?
Well, actually, it's not something that goes wrong. It's a healthy child that's adapting to a family atmosphere where what we're calling borderline, narcissistic, and schizoid is actually a pattern of behavior in which the child maximizes the amount of love and support they're getting by adopting certain attitudes and behaviors. So this is healthy that they did this. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, the habits that worked to protect them from their parents' darker sides and to get them as the maximum amount of affection and support in that particular home became habitual. It's like driving a car. In the beginning, you're very well aware you're doing A, B, and C to get from here to there, and then it becomes habitual, and then it's automatic, and you don't even notice you're doing it. So these children go out in the world with something that was a temporary adaptation, if you will.
Yes.
And it's now automatic, and it's the way they see the world. It's actually very helpable because it was simply a habit, a set of habits, a very deeply ingrained set of habits. And having any one of those three will really skew the way you view relationships. And that's what makes it a really big issue in life. And some of them will skew the way that you view every other person that you meet. You're going to view them from a particular lens that you were taught. That's how people are at home. And you were taught it before the age of 3.
Before the age of?
3.
3. Whoa.
Yes. People start this very, very early in their early interactions with their parents and their caretakers, and how much there was attunement to them, what got them attention, what got them punishment. And usually one of the reasons that so many people are attracted to particularly people with borderline adaptations and narcissistic adaptations is there's such intensity, they tell me, to the relationship in the beginning. it happens instantly. There's not a lot of reflection with either of the two on borderline or narcissistic. There's this intense automatic bonding that's all or nothing. Now, this is very much like a baby and mother, okay? That's an intense, dyadic, one-on-one bonding. So if you didn't have a very satisfactory bonding experience, as Gestalt therapists, we know that anything that's an unmet need from the past is going to press for fulfillment in the present. And who do you choose? You choose someone with something in common to the caregiver that you want to finish this unfinished piece of growing up with, but you don't know you're doing it.
Right. It's all unconscious. It's unconscious.
Because it happened at such an early age, and then the adaptation was reinforced because you're living in the same family with the same structure, with its pluses and minuses.
Yeah.
What I cover in my book are the three major ones and their subheadings, because it's very easy to I can give your audience an instant 2-minute little thing that can help them discover which of these they're closest to. Would you like me to do that?
Oh, I would love it.
Okay. Now, we all want everything from the person that we want to spend the rest of our life with, who we love. But people need different things as a priority. If you're going to put these three things in order of necessity, like what's your number one, what's your number two, and what's your number three, here's the three that you're going to put in order. Love including nurturing and romance and all that goes with that. Admiration, being on a pedestal, getting respect, feeling special. Or interpersonal safety, where you feel that you're not going to be harmed, you're thinking about harm or intrusion. So what's number one on yours? What's number two?
Yeah.
What's number three?
Right. So people would answer, and I will answer myself. I would say love and nurturing would be number one, and a sense of safety 2, and admiration 3.
Okay. So let me put them in terms of which of the personality adaptations that would put you closest to. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Narcissism was...
Love is borderline.
Yes, I'm sorry.
My
Right.
borderline clients do not notice many of the details that might tell them they weren't particularly safe, because it's so enthralling when they feel loved. And safety, my schizoid adapted people have had situations in their early childhood that brought up the issue, am I safe with my caregivers? Does anyone have my back? People don't even borderlines don't think about safety. Schizoids have it as number one. So we have love, we have interpersonal safety, and last we have the favorite of my narcissistic clients, which is feeling special, being admired, being the center of admiring attention, which can look like what the borderline client wants, being the center of love, but it's a very different thing. We're talking about love, safety, and self-esteem here. Does that make sense?
It makes beautiful sense. And love, safety, self-esteem. And you could say that people need all three.
Absolutely. However, my schizoid adapted clients, and I say that because these are patterns we're describing by these names,
right?
Not people.
Yes.
These are people who are like I had a borderline client say, "Oh, I hate being borderline. There's so much stigma to being borderline, and I don't like all of this." And I said, "Well, that's very simple. Stop acting borderline." And she paused and she said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah. What are the borderline behaviors that you do? Let's work on them, and you can substitute some other behaviors, and then you won't qualify for the diagnosis.
Your clients must love you, Dr. Elinor Greenberg.
Well, thank you. Well, love is first on my list, so I certainly hope they do.
Yes, my goodness. Let me just ask you, of the three, who are the most likely or willing to go into therapy versus not?
Let me put it a different way.
Okay.
Let's talk about functioning level.
Mm-hmm.
As long as someone's level of functioning is getting them enough of what they need, and there's no traumatic experience that cuts the rug out of them, they're not likely to go to therapy.
Mm-hmm.
So low-functioning people will end up in therapy or they'll end up in misery because they're not getting enough of what they need with the tools they have from childhood. So they're not functioning at a level where they can find a mate and find a job or go to school and finish a program.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big factor. For example, I'm told by the people who were my original teachers in Schizoid, Ralph Klein, who used to be director of training in the Masterson Institute, who I just adore his work, that most people with schizoid adaptations, because the basis of their adaptation is to be private, self-sufficient, and to not to separate themselves very often by the clever means from being intruded upon by other people, they find adaptations that work for them. And the modern world is set up for the schizoid adaptation. You don't have to see anyone in person. You can be in contact by computer. You can control the distancing by not returning texts. In the old days, people knocked at your door.
Wow.
So we're perfectly set up right now for higher functioning or moderate functioning people with schizoid patterns. They don't have to go to therapy except if they're finding that they can't get the intimacy, enough contact.
Oh.
It's when the adaptation fails that the person enters therapy. All the adaptations have flaws in them. Borderline people who have that adaptation are very susceptible to abandonment.
Mm-hmm.
When they feel abandoned, they're going to enter therapy.
Now, you're saying the schizoid?
So I'm saying if we look at when people enter therapy,
yes,
it's a function not only of the disorder, but of their level of functioning and their expectations for their life.
Right, and not getting enough of their needs met. If they can get enough of their needs met and the rug isn't cut out from under them, they're not going to seek therapy. So you're saying there's no hierarchy of the three adaptations?
Well, I think the borderline people, because it's not a self-esteem hit, narcissists find it the hardest because the basis of their defensive structure for feeling okay in the world is based on an unrealistic sense of needing to be perfect, to be flawless, and to not notice any flaws that they have. So if you have a person whose way of coping is to not notice their own flaws and only notice other people's flaws, and in fact to project their own flaws on other people and devalue them when they can't attain something special, then they have to back up a lot of steps and take a huge hit to their stability by entering therapy and saying, I am imperfect, I need someone's help.
Right. Yes.
So that makes it the hardest. Most of my narcissistic clients come either because they're sent by their mate or by their boss, and they're told that you don't get along with people well enough. If you want a promotion, you're going to have to do better. You're treating people around you like dirt. the wife sends the husband saying, I'm going to take our children and leave you. I'm scared to be in the house with you. You get so angry at me. You're so